This week on Mustang Monday, progress of sorts. Started the week out with a couple of trips to Advanced Auto Parts. I dug a starter and an alternator. Actually, I dug two starters and two alternators out of the attic. Took them to Advanced Auto Parts, had them tested. One of the starters was bad. Threw it back up in the attic in case I ever need a core charge or something like that. One of the other starters functioned. I brought it home and cleaned it up a little bit and bolted it up. The alternators, one of them functioned, the other one I didn't test because I was so excited that I forgot to have the guy hook it up. Anyhow. Ugly, but functional. Took the water pump pulley out of my Boxo parts and put that on. I'm going to take it off and clean it up a little bit, but for right now, let me make sure that the belts are on alignment. Looks like I've got the right pulley. Lucky there. Coated all of the stainless steel bolts with anti-seize, threaded them in finger tight, and then went through and cinched them all down. One of the other things that I got lucky on was up in my many Boxo parts in the attic. I had the alternator brackets that were appropriate for this motor. Dug those out, cleaned them up, painted them, and installed them on the motor because I'm hoping that I'm going to need an alternator someday. And all those pulley bolts that I tightened up, yeah, I had to loosen them up so that I could get that bolt in for the alternator bracket. Bummer. So Dad swapped the valve covers off the motor that he put in his coupe and sent these back over. I don't have valve covers for my motor, so I spent a little bit of time cleaning them up with some Simple Green and water, trying to get as much of the grease and oil and grime off of them as I could. And then I'm going to paint them satin black. Not the sexiest set of valve covers out there, but they'll do. Once I had them all painted and they were dried, I put them on. You know, all said and done, they really don't look that bad. And while I was at Advance, I picked up spark plugs, went through, sat down, took them out of the box, checked the gap, fixed the gap on a couple of them, put them back in the box, and then took them over to the car and started putting them in. With all of the plugs gapped, I started installing them, coated them with some anti-seize, and went through and re-gapped the one that I dropped on the ground, which of course landed on the ground electrode. And the first step of the spark component for ignition is in. On to the fuel and air. Screwed the carb studs in and then put the carburetor and the spacer on. These GM HEI style distributors stick up quite a bit. They're much larger than a normal Ford distributor, so we needed the large spacer on the other motor. I went ahead and installed it now, but I'm thinking I'm going to custom make an air cleaner for this, so I'm probably not going to need that spacer. But for right now, it'll get the motor tested. While I was in this area, found the timing marks and cleaned them off so I could read them. And the finale for Mustang Monday this week. Added some oil and then checked it to make sure that we had enough. Gave the motor a quick turnover with out fuel. Okay. Then a test start with the starter fluid. Okay. Added some temporary fuel lines and a filter. And she's alive. A little rough running, still needs some work, but it runs. So, as you can see, goal met. Not April, Mustang is running. I might make this after all. Have a great week. I'm going to.